Welcome to the Colorado Real Estate Leaders Podcast, brought to you by Trailstone Insurance Group, bringing you interviews with Colorado's best real estate and mortgage professionals, empowering you to understand the current trends in the housing market so you can make the American dream your reality. Enjoy today's episode.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Colorado Real Estate Leaders Podcast. Today we have with us Matthew Collett, who's the branch manager with Nations Lending. Matthew, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me, Mike.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm excited to learn from you because that is one of the things that we always love when we talk to business leaders is what is your perspective on things? What are you seeing in the market? What are some of the trends that you're seeing? So before we dive into some of the lending strategies that and programs that you offer, give us a little bit of your background and what led you into the mortgage business in the first place.
Yeah. So, I'm a Colorado native. I grew up in Arvada, West Arvada, Golden, Colorado, and I'm the only non-engineer in my family. I went to business school up at the Leeds School of Business up in Boulder, Colorado, and graduated with degrees in finance and real estate, and then started originating mortgages in 2007 at 22 years old, and haven't done anything else. So it's been a fun ride, exciting business. This business has given me everything. As far as my personal wealth is, and as well as helped me help others establish their net worth and build some strategies as well. So, I love it. This is what I see the world through this lens is home financing, and I've been lucky enough to work with a business partner. His name is Andrew Scripter, and we manage a branch near Mile High Stadium of about 4 or 5 loan officers now, and we're growing, and we have got a couple processors and a business manager. So we love what we do, and we go to work every single day to try to provide the highest customer service to our clients and our referral sources, and see if we can come up with the best financing solutions for our clients. Because that's you never know what's out there if you're maybe not in the business. And so that's what we do is customize specific loan products towards each client's financing goals and help them get there. So
I love it. And a couple of things that I noticed you said was we help people. We customize what they need, their goals. It's not all about Matthew Collett. And the other thing I noticed is a date. You got into the business in 2007. That was at the front end of the craziness.
Interesting times, yes.
Yeah, you tell us a little bit about how you persevered and made your way through the first part of those years, and then came out on the other end, and now you're still in the industry.
Yeah, it's wild looking back. You blink your eye, and 15, 16 years can go by. But in 2007, it was a tough time in the economy. If people remember at that point, there was hard to find opportunities. And so I had an opportunity to be a junior loan officer at Wells Fargo for my current business partner, Andrew Scripter. And, just at 22 years old, I wasn't making much for the first couple of years, but I was learning the business and most importantly, learning how, the financing rules work. And my gosh, it set me apart. Thankfully, I kind of fell into it. And, compared to a lot of my colleagues and friends at the same level, I was understanding, how to finance homes at a very young age. And so I was able to buy my first home at 25. And, it was tough because, a lot of times I was like, hey, how do you save so much money to buy a house? I didn't have really a pot to piss in after I graduated college and had some student loans and was dealing with, trying to build my nest egg, and so leveraging some of these financing options and getting my foot in the door was at a younger age was such a powerful thing with an appreciating asset. And so, I bought my first house at 25 and then leveraged that house to buy about 4 multifamily homes in 2011 and 2013 and that was just my personal side of things. And I was able to, different people are, have different preferences and how risk averse or risk tolerant they're looking to be, but we have options for everybody across the spectrum. And it's just amazing what you can accomplish if you just know what you can do. And that's what we really get excited about. Myself especially, is to help people understand what they can do to establish home ownership and to leverage a rental portfolio if they're looking into doing that. There's obviously some risks and some different things you got to be aware of for sure. But I'm helping people who don't already have a ton of money to just buy a bunch of assets, and that makes me happy because we don't take that lightly, and that's everybody's finances, and in most cases the biggest financial decision of their life, and so we really customize the financing product for them and their goals, and really have to take the time to get to know them. And we love getting to know our clients and referral sources to be able to know how to help, and that's important.
A couple points that you brought up there where you personally were single, not a homeowner, and became a homeowner. So you went through that process, and now you know how to serve your clients with educating them, teaching them on what to expect. And then when you moved into several years later, getting your first and second rental property, multifamily, now that becomes let's leveraging some of those assets in an investment portfolio. So, when you can translate some of those fears and anticipations onto easing them for your clients, that becomes a helpful process. So when you now are working with clients today, is it a good mix between home buyers and investors, or do you find yourself leaning a little bit more toward investors when, because you are one and you know the value of an investment property?
Yeah, it's a good question. We see everything across the board, but more recently, when I first got into business in the first part of my career, it was, kind of like you said, there was, the primary residence clients that was the only, home that they wanted to own or looked to own. And then there was the investors that were doing it, as a kind of a job, looking at it intentionally to build rental portfolios. And nowadays, we have this hybrid, emerging market that popped up over the last, decade or so with short-term rentals. And so, people can, if they're open to it, if they're open to sharing space, they can actually look into owning real estate, being an investor in some senses, but not necessarily doing it, as a full-time job to kind of complement their full-time job and creating an appreciating asset that can hopefully pay for itself and get a little bit of a return. And I like creating win-wins, and when you have something in an area that potentially you like to visit, then that you can use, you can save on the cost that you would have paid to go vacation there anyway. So, it's a nice hybrid model, and some clients are interested in that, and we can help them understand that world. There's a lot of different nuances when it comes to understanding local city ordinances and rules and HOA requirements, and really protecting yourself, doing the due diligence up front, so you don't have a property that you plan on short-term renting, and then of course you're not allowed to short-term rent it. So, just. It's fun to the industry is always changing, and I'm sure there's going to be another interesting thing like that on the horizon that we're ready for, and that's what's fun about this business.
I love it, and I think that when you think about an investment property, air quotes, right? Like you typically think, well, I'm going to buy something, hold it, rent it, and make the arbitrage monthly difference between what I have to pay for the mortgage and what I can rent it out for. But you're talking about like the Airbnb short-term rental type of model. So do you work with some real estate partners where you do the lending and they're doing kind of like the teaching people of how to get set up on those short-term rentals to maximize that?
Yeah, you got it. We got wonderful real estate agents that can specialize in helping clients set up a short-term rental. One of our agents out in we're in multiple states. One of our agents out in California manages his company manages 20 listings himself, and so
Wow.
Very experienced with and in multiple states, and so he knows the process. That's definitely a specialty, and some agents love working in that realm, and some agents more focus on some other types of clients, but we have every type of resource. And then that's what's important about having a team of trusted people that you can go to kind of collect together your team to get the information needed to even see if you want to look at doing something, because it does sound like pretty pretty fun to own a short-term rental property in a destination place. But there's some nuances you got to be aware of. There's costs, there's different management fees, there's different licensing stuff, and so helping clients get into that and create a systemized process that they can have with an appreciating asset is something we like to do, because it can be difficult to wade your way through a lot of that stuff if you haven't been experienced with it.
Yeah, I like what you're doing there, because it seems like anyone could fill out an online form, get pre-approved, buy a place, refinance a place, but you're kind of working with strategic alliance partners, taking then if someone going, oh, you've heard about investment properties, what we can do is, and let's teach you and educate you. And so it really elevates the traditional borrowing process. So what other kind of borrowers do you work with? I mean, I know depending on the times of the market, it's going to be refi heavy, it's going to be purchase heavy, but are you working with both borrowers that are looking to buy their first home, move up buyers, move down buyers? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, all of the above, of course. A lot of it's market dictated by the market. As far as interest rates, our 100% of our business this month is purchase business. We are my business partner, as well as a couple loan officers in our branch, are CDLP, which stands for Certified Divorce Lending Professionals. We have a gal on our team. Her name is Lacey. She's a fantastic loan officer, been in the business for almost a decade now, and she went through personally a divorce, and knows kind of intimately what having a knowledgeable resource, when it comes to real assets and coming up with a strategy would provide. And so, we've been to some family law conferences and some different local attorney offices to do some lunch and learns lately. But as far as refinances, that's dependent a lot by the interest rates. We want to make sure that it's a benefit to the client to refinance. And if you're not forced to do a refinance or want to take a look at some cash out, which maybe can benefit you in that regard, then you wouldn't want to be looking at a refinance when interest rates are higher than what you got. So we're always kind of focused on purchase business, because that's I don't want to take anything away from refinance business, because it's really important, and we always make sure our clients are in the best position for them, that our job doesn't stop at the closing. We constantly have to make sure our clients are in a better position if they can be. But there's no multiple parties involved. There's no dates and deadlines, earnest money. It's almost like, I think, JV, versus varsity. And so purchase lenders can do refinances. Refinance lenders can't really do purchases that well, because when with all the regulations in the market, and you still hear these horror stories about deals falling through with purchases, and it's because the lenders maybe that are more refinance specific, that don't have the pieces of the puzzle in place to deliver a on time, smooth closing every single time. Maybe they're not able to to problem solve in the way that's needed to get the deal done. So we focus on purchase business, as well as supporting our clients and referral sources with purchase business. But like you said, there's first time home buyers, investors, anywhere in between, second homeowners. I was looking into helping some clients with some farmland purchase up in Wyoming. So we just want to be a knowledge resource for any of the above. There's always a strategy, even if you're not looking to, be too heavy into the investment side of things. There's still a strategy with your home financing with your primary residence, and knowing what you can do as well to position yourself better in the future with potentially your equity that you develop.
You brought up a good point that I want to highlight, because we talked about when you got in the business at the lowest of the market. But if you had gotten into the business like about 6-7 years earlier, when it was just pretty much you can throw a rock and get borrowers and make $100,000 a month, it seems like just crazy times, right? Because it was just nuts. those people might not have had the depth of experience and trials and tribulations to learn from to then take that body of knowledge and serve the clients. You came in and you just, rolled up your sleeves and learned from the hardest of times. And like your point about a refinance lender, nothing wrong with that type of lender, but you don't see the full picture of all of the things that could go wrong and when it goes wrong, how to fix it. And then the other piece that you guys bring is a team. So yeah, I might not be able to ask you personally, tell me all the intricacies of a certified divorce lending professional, but you've got someone on your team that can. And you might personally not know the, Airbnb regulations of, short-term rental, but you've got someone on your team that can. And I think that's a huge, 360-degree holistic approach that you're able to bring to your clients.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do every day. That's we take our job very seriously. And for an example of what you were talking about, there's renovation loans that are really great. And so, what we've experienced in the last couple of years is a very limited supply. And so when you have a limited supply and you have properties that maybe, aren't your perfect property, when you have renovation loans, if they're in the right location and have the right bones, they could become your perfect property. And then that doesn't really involve an investment side of things. That's your primary residence. We can look at those products for investment investors, but it just opens up the door to so many different things to help people get in the home that they want. Because hey, that's where you spend most of your lives, and that's where you spend most of your money is on paying down your mortgage and making sure that you have a place a roof over your head. So we really like to offer a lot of solutions, and a lot of times they're not as straightforward. There could be renovation loans or reverse mortgages or home equity line of credits to tap into some equity. A lot of different tools that you can utilize to put yourself in a better position. And just to touch on, when I got into the industry, it's a little bit of a used car salesman industry almost, and the recession and the market crashing actually helped weed out a lot of that, and it made the market a lot healthier. While we still have our different hurdles and roadblocks, and always evolving market. It's a lot healthier of a market where people are, typically putting money down. They're in fixed rate mortgages, and I got just the last little few months of experience of a time period where people were put no money down, 2-1 option arms, not fixed rate mortgages clearly, and their payments were significantly increasing. And there was this phrase that was always thrown around, like, don't worry, you can refinance. Don't worry, you can refinance. And I'm actually joking around with my loan officers these days because I'm telling them, hey, don't get lulled into that temptation to say to your clients, don't worry, you can refinance. Okay. Because that's what I'm hearing a lot right now in the market, where it's like, hey, interest rates are up. Don't worry, buy now, you can refinance later. You don't worry, you can refinance. And refinance is a big assumption. There's rules when it comes to refinancing. And so, we want to, educate our clients and make sure that they understand, what's a guarantee, what's not a guarantee. And certainly that is an option to potentially look at if you're able to refinance if rates drop after you buy. But, it's definitely not something that you should hang your hat on, because I was in the industry when that was the common saying, and guess what? A lot of people couldn't refinance, and because the values plummeted and were walking away from their homes. And so, I'm the son of a high school math teacher, and so I look at myself as a teacher and an educator, and I got a lot of experience, and my business partner has a decade more than me, and our business manager has a decade and a half, and so we're kind of the place you come to if you want to talk about a high level and understand what your options are. There's always a quick Google search, and I'm sure an app you can fill out and get a pre-approval letter and go down that path, and maybe at the end of the day that online company or big bank closes the loan for you, but you never know what you don't know, and that's what we want to get the word out to. Let people know, hey, there's options, and you may not even know what the options are that might help you get to your goals even quicker. And we got a lot of happy clients that we've helped do that along the years, and that's what we want to now. Now we're in a stage of helping grow loan officers to do the same thing that we've been doing.
All the way through, you talk about teaching and educating and providing great information, fair, ethical approach, while having some creative, unique ways to do it. So I think that all of those play nicely together. I think it's such a great model that you guys are doing to serve your clients. So I think that is just spectacular, Matthew. If someone is listening to this going, hey, maybe I need to learn a little bit more about some of these programs, what's the best way they can reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, my direct line is 303-518-1398. You can always give me a call. It's and then we're local. We're right near Mile High Stadium, 23rd and Clay. You can always stop by our office. We're there, going to work every single day. And in a day and age where I think the mortgage companies kind of took advantage of maybe that pandemic, and they like loan officers working from home because it's less of a line item on their P&Ls to not pay for rent. We take our job seriously and want to have a space to go to work and bring our clients and help educate them in the process. And so, located in 23rd and Clay, you can always reach out to me by phone. Our website, I believe you guys have that. Nations Lending is the company we work for. You can find us on Facebook, the Collett and Scripter group. And one of the always things that I like to impress upon people is that our advice and our knowledge is free. Like if you don't like what we say, then hey, you never have to do anything with it. You can go work with whoever you like, and that's what we want people to work with us that want to work with us. And so I always encourage people to at least reach out and at least know what you can do potentially, and who knows if it's a good fit, it's a good fit. If not, at least you made the phone call, and it's there's no cost associated with it.
Excellent. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for coming on. It was a real pleasure talking with you and learning from how you approach your clients.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. And thanks for having me on.
Thank you for listening to the Colorado Real Estate Leaders Podcast, brought to you by Trailstone Insurance Group. To learn more about the topics mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.coloradorealestateleaders.com.